All right. Hi, everyone. Good morning, and thank you for joining us for this webinar today. I see people logging in still. Hopefully, they'll join in 5 minutes before the presentation will actually start. I just wanna send you a chat right now in case some of you can hear me. Please let me know through the chat so we fix the audio problems right now and you don't miss anything later. Otherwise, we can jump in the presentation. So I am Julia, marketing manager at Cloves. I'm just gonna take 5 minutes to introduce Cloves and give you some housekeeping. And then I'm gonna pass the ball to Louie Guevara, our technical director, for the actual webinar. At the very end, we're gonna have Q&A. So please, guys, write down your questions. Write them in the questions section in the GoToWebinar control panel. We're gonna answer them at the end. So housekeeping. The webinar will be recorded. So if you have to leave, if you miss something, if you want to share with your team, don't worry. We're gonna send the recording right after the webinar. As I said, Q&A process, you're muted, so we cannot hear you. If you have any question, any doubt, anything, you can either email me or sales, so julia@closing.com or sales@closing.com, or use the question section on the GoToWebinar panel. We are going to answer them at the end. We're going to read them out loud and answer them at the very end of the presentation. If we can't answer them for whatever reason, maybe they require more conversation or more information, we're going to send you an email right after. Two fun things: social media and Cloves YouTube channel. Please follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn. We share our updates there, the latest project we finished, the latest news at Cloves. They're all on our social media pages, so please follow us there. Some cool stuff. You can see that. And then Cloves YouTube channel, it's where all our webinars, all our videos are gonna be stored. So in case you missed the last month's webinar, please go check the YouTube channel. So about Cloves, for the people who don't know us, we are a ServiceNow partner since 2011. We're based in Santa Clara in California, right next to the ServiceNow headquarters. And we are a full ServiceNow shop, meaning that we cover everything that ServiceNow offers. So far, we reached a milestone of 150 customers, and our team is constantly growing. Right now, we have a little over 45 consultants all over the world, and therefore, we're being able to execute projects globally. However, our focus for the 2017 year is customer service management, service portal, and HR. So if you guys are interested specifically in one of these areas, please email me privately. We have super cool demos that we want to show and we want to share with you. So saying that, I don't want to take much time. If you have any question about Cloves, please email me again, giulia@closing.com. I'm going to give the control to Louie Guevara, our technical director, that is going to show, is going to have a great presentation for you guys. Louie, do you have access? Do you have control?
Yes. And you see, can you see my screen?
Not yet. Let me.
Let me know when it pulls.
Now, yes. Perfect. Now it's all yours.
Great. Hi, everybody. My name is Louie Guevara. Thank you for joining our webinar for the month of August. Pretty excited to show you our latest implementation. We collaborated with one of our clients in terms of this implementation, and we've done some additional changes to it for this particular webinar. Give me 1 second here. My title for Cloves, I represent Cloves from a professional services end. I manage a lot of the consultants across the globe. We've done many implementations. I've personally done more than 200 different implementations on ServiceNow platform, been around for close to about 10 years. on the platform, doing all the different types of developments. Today's webinar, we will cover what we have as a Tech Lounge walk-up check-in kiosk application that we had built on the ServiceNow platform. Everything that you will see from our demo are all built on the platform, on the ServiceNow platform. It is a custom application, and it is using the service portal as the front end. So we've been able to do a lot of new design elements and a lot of automation process using the service portal with the newest technology that ServiceNow have provided. So today, what you'll see is what we have as a tablet version. It works on iPad, any other tablet devices there. But for the purpose of our demo, we will be using an iPad device, and as well as just on my regular desktop screen. The great thing about this is the other thing that you will also see is a badge reader that is hooked up to an iPad. I don't have necessarily an actual demo of that, but we do have an emulator that allows us to do so. But essentially, if you're using a badge for your buildings and how you manage your badge process, if you have something that can read the badge, it will work that you can plug in to an iPad device, and that should be able to read any kind of badge numbers off of that badge. Our overall agenda today is what are we trying to solve with this application? Some product description. What are the key features that we put together on this application? How it actually works, and then we'll be able to cover some of the release notes, where we are today from our release, and where we're planning on going for this particular application, and potentially other use cases that we might be able to use this application for. And then I'm going to jump straight into the demo and be able to show you all the different screens and the steps process, not only from the requester standpoint, but also from a fulfiller standpoint. And then we'll take any questions from there. So what are we trying to solve? What are we trying to solve is we want something that's simple from an employee standpoint, to be able to walk in and do a check-in process without having the need to talk to staff. The purpose of this is to, as you are in the building, so let me kind of reframe it. In many organization, IT organization who has many different buildings, whether within a particular city or across the US or anywhere else, you'll have what we call a tech lounge. A tech lounge is somewhat pretty similar to like a Genius Bar, where you can, if you have something that's broken and maybe your laptop, you get the blue screen of death, or some software is not working properly, rather than opening a ticket and waiting for someone to help you, you can easily walk downstairs, wherever your tech lounge might be, and go into that room and be able to check in very, very easily, and then get on the queue, and then you'll be able to see the queue and as to where you are on the line, that someone from tech support can help you. A very easy to use interface for technical support, a little different from a ServiceNow fulfiller type of view, where you can see the standard default view on the back end. So we've created an interface that the tech support who's supporting the lounge at that moment, where they can have a very easy access of who's in the queue and how they can accept and work on that particular ticket. We want to try to eliminate the extra staff to do a check-in. We want to expedite that check-in process. We also have a self-registration badge process. So in cases where a new employee or someone who's just never had the need to register the badge, the goal here is that if we are not able to find your badge in the system, that you can easily register that with simple steps. We want to maximize the use of ServiceNow platform, which is really kind of what our goal here is to, what else can we do with ServiceNow? And the goal here is that we want to make it compatible for desktop, tablet, and mobile devices, which kind of allows us to do a lot more different types of use cases for this application. So from a product description standpoint, this is a self-service automated check-in application to make a simple transaction. Really, the goal here is to check in and create a ticket on the back end, and that will immediately go into a group or someone who's manning that particular lounge at that time. We also implemented a schedule process. So if the tech lounge is not available from a particular time, we simply provide an error message or a message that says currently the tech lounge is closed. But it is a very simple, easy steps to submit your incident or I'm sorry, your issue or your request. You can see it's a step very close to about 3 steps. Some of the key features that we implemented is the self-service check-in for requesters, badge user registration. We did have a very simple UI employee experience using the service portal, a queue management screen. That's something that you can put up on a big screen, a huge TV that's in front, so that allows you to see the queue and who's in line and what number in line that a requester might be. It's a very simple escalation process. The escalation process that you'll see is something that we've integrated to either open an actual incident for additional support, potentially tier 2 or any other groups that needs to help fix that particular problem. So that's something that the tech support at the lounge is not able to resolve. The other thing that we're also doing here is the escalation to be able to submit a request. So if you're using the catalog items in ServiceNow, request a hardware, request a laptop. So if you have anything that needs to be replaced, and at that point that the tech lounge is not able to resolve, we can easily submit that request from this application as well. We also built a tech support interface. So rather than using the backend of ServiceNow, we have a particular interface for the tech that's on their tablet, where they can easily accept and discard a particular ticket in case the requester have already left and moved on, and then we can move on to the next next person in line. Single platform, really. It's at that what we're trying to do here is continue to build within the ServiceNow framework that we can easily integrate this application with CSM, HRSM, and ITSM and any other applications within the ServiceNow suite. And then the goal here also is to make it responsive layout, so it doesn't matter which screen you're on, whether you might have a desktop on the lounge. Or you might use a tablet, or you can also make this available from a mobile standpoint. So now, how does it work? This is a very simple representation of how this will work. We have a support staff here that's manning the lounge. He's either a desktop support or someone that can help immediately look at what the issue is. Right somewhere on the front or at the door, or anywhere that's within the lounge, you can have a little tablet device. You may have a kiosk or something like that you can present the application and the swiper available to it. So right now, we're using the Wave ID as an example, one of the ones that we help implement. This is a plug and play to an iPad device. And you can buy this anywhere online. And the goal here is that you'll have a list of users or requesters that will come into the lounge, and they may bring their laptop, they may bring their tablet device or whatever other device that they have that they need help immediately. And they'll have a badge. This is a simple badge, a magnetic badge that I think the majority of the buildings and many organizations use this today. And the goal here is to be able to swipe your badge, and that the badge reader will read the badge number and then place that on the screen, and then it will move on to the next step. So you can see here that you simply swipe and it'll recognize your number, and then it will move on to the next step. So I'll be able to actually show you this from a demo, but this is really kind of what would happen from a real life standpoint, and then from a systematic standpoint, I'll be able to show you that as a live demo. The other thing that you can that we've done here is to create a page where it has the queue. You can place this on a big screen, and where it can help provide a better experience for your requesters. That way they know exactly when they checked in, and where they are on the line, whether they're number 3, number 4, number 5. They can at least figure out, and then they don't have to stay there and wait. They can easily, uh, go to wherever it is that they need to do, and then come back and check the queue again on whether or not they're, whether they're going to be number 1 or number 2 at that point. The other thing that we plan on implementing, which I'll share with you on our potential release 3 here, is to also create some notifications, some text, use alerts to allow the requester as a note to notify the requester when it's their time. From a tech support queue view standpoint, we did create a view for them that they can use immediately on the iPad. They don't have to log in. They're simply looking at the iPad, and as a new person checks in, they'll be able to see what's on the list. And from here, they can accept or discard that particular ticket. When they accept, they'll be shown a simple UI that allows them to put in the description of the issue, put additional details, be able to save that same information, or they can close. Closing means that they're done and they've been able to fix that particular problem. On the other hand, if they're not done and they know that there's additional help that the requester needs, they can escalate, and they can either create a ticket to additional groups, to other groups within the support organization, or you can escalate and request for a new hardware or a new software for this matter. The escalation process really allows us to tap into any out-of-box applications out there, whether that's incident, catalog, request fulfillment process, or you can have HR, you can have CSM. So we can actually create those tickets, pass the same amount of information that we've already collected from this standpoint, and that will hopefully make it easier and route the ticket a lot to the appropriate group and provide the same amount of information. And as far as our release notes, we initially released the version 1 with the client earlier, about a month or so ago. We're currently on the version 2. Our version 1 was really kind of built for only a tablet version. We didn't necessarily make it. There wasn't a need for it to be done on desktop or mobile. In this case, it was specific for a tablet. We also did a very simple location dropdown, which allows us to do multiple buildings, multiple groups, manning different support lounges. Simple UI and the fulfiller queue. What we've done on version 2 is just redesign it, change some logos, change some design elements, and we've also modified the escalation process to create the incident. Our potential where we are going with this is to present, not only allow us to submit different types of catalogs. That's something still in the works. That's something that I won't be able to demo to you today, but it is something that is completely possible. We're also looking at potentially integrating this with customer service management. How we're looking for additional use cases and how this will work. But we believe that there's going to be a use case for customer service management, but as well as potential for HR service management. We will add additional widgets as we need, queue numbers and things like that. And we're also going to add some alerts, notifications, email, or SMS, depending on the available information or how the person wants to be notified. All right, with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and jump in straight to the live demo of it, and we'll take questions from there. So I'll go ahead and switch application. What I have here is an iPad emulator on my screen, and what it will allow me to do is really kind of follow the whole step-by-step process. The initial screen here would be allowing me to select which building I'm going to be in, if I happen to be on building 1 or building 2 or whichever group I need to be in. We can set this up in many different ways. We can automatically remove this space. It really kind of depends. So it's a very flexible platform and a very flexible application. So there's not a whole lot of, there's only one single tech lounge. We'll only focus on that tech lounge, or we can make it focus on that group only. But in this case, in this demo, we have 3 different groups, so 3 different buildings that we can submit a case to. So here I'm going to simply go into the Tech Oasis Building 1. And from an iPad standpoint, it just says that touch screen. We can make it default to touch screen without any further checks on the location, but we could also do what we are doing a location-based ticketing system here as well. So here I'm going to touch the screen, and immediately it's going to ask me to swipe my badge, or I can enter a badge number. Now, if I don't have my badge, I can simply type, if I know my badge number, which is on the badge itself, if I remember that number, I can type that number in, or I can you can swipe that badge using the badge reader. In this case, I will go ahead and not use my badge today, but if one of the other features is the self-registration that we have. So I'm going to show you the self-registration first before I get into the actual badge. So if there's a number here that gets swiped and it does not recognize that particular number, what it's going to do is it's going to tell you that it looks like your badge is not in the system, and then please enter your name to register. Now, entering a name here will really kind of allow us to check against the user table of ServiceNow, and then we'll check whether or not this user exists. You can type in first name, you can type in last name. It will query both first and last, and simply click next. And it's going to give you an option who you are. So if there's multiple options, it will give you multiple options, and you simply say, okay, that's me, and you simply say next. And here you can now register your actual badge. So you can swipe it again, or you can type that same badge number. So this is really the badge. So now it's going to remember that particular badge, and we'll save it in the record. And it's now going to recognize that, hi, Julia, how can we help you? So at this point, I've already skipped the whole swiping of the badge again, but now it's just recognizing that Julia can now select from the list of types of tickets that we can submit. Something is broken, I have a request, or it could be something else. In this case, maybe I just have a request. I'm looking for a laptop, or I need a new mouse, or I need a new keyboard, or something like that. And notice that things are immediately done. And it says there that Julia is on number 4. What will happen at this point is I'm going to go ahead and show the regular desktop version from a queue standpoint. And you can see from here, based on the building it is on, Julia will be now on number 4. Now, you can see that there are other tickets are on the queue, and we also are using the your image, your picture. So if you have a picture implemented in your user table, in your user account or your profile, that can be shown here as well, and it tells you the check-in time. So here in Tech Oasis building, you can see that there's 4 people on the line. If there are no other at the building next door, they're all close to within the vicinity that you can walk. You can pretty much check each queue and figure out where's the shortest line, and see if you can get help there from immediately. So this is what can be shown on the actual big screen that can be presented in front of the tech lounge, so people can see exactly where they are and at what point, what time they need to be, they need to be helped in this case. So I'm gonna go back to the iPad here. Without the registration, once you're registered, you can pretty much simply put your number in, or type your number in. Or you can simply swipe your badge here. You can see that I've already registered early on, and I can just either swipe the badge or type that in, and I can say something is broken. What you'll notice here as well is that we're not asking for any additional questions. We're not saying, hey, describe your issue. One of the core concept that we wanted to do is to make it really easy for the end user or the requester to be able to come in and just do a check-in. They don't want to type it in and explain there, and then they have to explain again to the tech support staff of what's going on. So it's just easier that they submit a ticket, and immediately they'll be on the queue, and then they'll wait from that standpoint. Because we're all using Angularjs and we're using the new technology on Service Portal, you can see things are immediately getting updated. So there's no refresh or anything like that needs to happen. So it's very very quick, very simple, and very fast from a performance standpoint. So this is this is pretty much it from a requester. There's nothing else that they need to do other than wait for their turn. Now, what will happen is the support staff will have an iPad, and they'll have their own view of of the ticket, so of the list, the queue itself. And you can see here that if I'm working on the Tech Oasis building 1, I can see the list that I need to work on for today. I can also jump into other buildings in case I'm on that building, or the iPad needs to move and things like that. So it's very flexible. Again, we can keep things static, or we can make it a little bit dynamic and allow selections depending on where they need to be. So in this case, I will take its first come, first serve. In this case, Michael Fernandez will be in first, and he happened to submit all 3 to make sure no one else cuts in the line. And as the tech support, I can go ahead and accept or discard this particular. If I discard it, it will permanently close this particular ticket and move on to the next. So I can just say yes. It's holding up right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that here instead of the emulator, because it takes a little bit of time with the emulator. So I can simply do a discard and just say yes. And notice that things will move on and jump to the next queue. From here, if I want to accept the particular ticket, I can simply accept. And what this will do is, right on my iPad, because I'm the one that's working on this, is I can still stay on the same page. So while I'm talking to the requester and trying to solve the problem, that requester will now provide me the information or the issue that they're having. In this case, this is a walk-up incident, or we can do a walk-up request or other. This is just allowing us to identify or categorize this particular ticket. Because this is an incident, I can simply say, broken screen on my tablet, on the tablet. And whatever action item that I need to do, I can pretty much type that details in here. So need a replacement tablet or screen. Now, if I'm, if I can easily fix the screen replacement at the Tech Lounge, I can easily do that, and I can put the more details as I need to here. I can save this, and that information will be saved, and they'll still keep me here because I haven't solved anything. I'm still with that requester. If I need to add more information, I can simply add more. I can say here, okay, replace the screen. Now, one of the things here that you'll notice, it just says details rather than a comment. We will look at potentially using the activity or the comment screen here, widget, to allow us to run through all the activities, the timestamps on when we updated this particular record. But in this case, it's a very simple detailed text box that we can use. And if I replace that screen right then and there, and now I can easily just say it's closed. And at that point, I'm pretty much done with that request, and you can see that I can move on to the next requester. Now, if I want to escalate for some reason, I'm going to go ahead and maybe skip Mike and skip Julia, or maybe I'll take Julia. This one is more of a request. So let's say Julia says, I really need a new mouse. This one I can't have. We can simply say, need a new keyboard and mouse. So we'll submit a request. In this case, we can escalate. And this is where you see the escalate. And the escalate button will allow us to not only either open an incident or open a request. Currently today with the request, I don't have that functional to open up a catalog item. That's going to be part of our version 3. But in an incident version, in case, depending on how you do your request or your incident process, we can simply escalate to a particular set of records within the ServiceNow applications, and see here that order need to order new mouse and keyboard, and I can just copy that information. Here I can escalate to additional groups if I need to escalate to additional groups on the back end, and then I can simply just click accept. And what this will do, it will create an incident on the back end. And the same way, if we were to do a catalog item, is when we choose a particular catalog item, depending on how you manage your catalog, we can easily select hardware or software or which particular catalog items. If you have one that's requesting a MacBook or requesting a laptop, that's something that can be easily put together in terms of the escalation process for the queue management. So in essence, this is what we've done. Just to summarize, is we've put together a swipe process, allows the user to simply check in and submit their request or submit an incident through the tech lounge. If the tech lounge is not there, it would just simply say their tech lounge is closed. I can easily register my badge if my badge is not registered yet. And once you submit a ticket, you pretty much show up on the queue based on the location. And then from a fulfiller standpoint, we have a fulfiller screen that's very easy to use, that you can accept, reject, and you can also escalate to an incident, update the same ticket, or you can escalate to a request. From a live demo standpoint, this is pretty much what I have from a live demo, and I'll be more than happy to take any questions at this point. Get back here. All right, so before I do so, this is the actual live picture of one with the client that we worked with to implement the tech launch. So you can see it's right on the iPad, plugged into a USB port, the mini USB here, and then the Wave ID badge reader. That concludes my live demo. Any questions?
Yes, Louis, thank you so much. So we have already one question, and I'm sure others will come. So Amy asked, what type of ticket are you using when the user checks in? Call, incident, request, task, other?
This is a simple task ticket that we created. This is a custom app that we built specifically for the client. In this case, we can use the new call. We have not integrated this with the new call application, but that's something that can be done as well. But in this case, it's a different task, inherited task application.
Okay, perfect. I don't have any other question. If you guys have anything, type them now or send us an email, and we're gonna connect with you as soon as possible. If I don't see any other question, I want to say thank you so much, Louis, for the great presentation. Oh, I have one. There you go. Vitali asked, is there a way to view clients' other tasks? Louis?
Yes, the question is, let me repeat that. Is there a way to view
Clients' other tasks and like to see if they have had similar issues recently? Vitali asks.
Is that from the requester standpoint? Yes, there is. We can implement something where we can, look at repeat customers or something that could be done through a problem. That's something that is not here. This is the goal here is to make it simpler, but that is definitely possible.
Perfect. Someone. I don't see anything else, so I guess we call.
Yep. Yeah, we can take any questions, any future questions on this. We will continue to expand this application into something that could be easily used, or new call was definitely a great, but it really depends whether the customer is using the new call functionality. But in this case, we're not using the new call at the moment. But it is pretty. The goal here is for the tech launch to really have their own app and to have their separate way of managing their the queue.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Louis. Thank you for everyone for Oh, wait, I have another question. Okay, Atul asked, how much time does it take to develop?
Uh, this was um, this was a lot longer because nothing existed. Because we have a framework and we've already built a lot of the structure, we can easily implement. As from a timing standpoint, uh, it just depends if there's additional features. But for this case, this is already a prepackaged solution that we have, so we can easily implement and provide the updates as needed. And we can answer that for in addition to that question. So we can send it to you.
Perfect. And Johnny says, great job, Louie. So I'm going to let you know that. So thank you, Johnny. We appreciate your compliment. And
Yes, thank you. Yeah, the good thing here is very flexible. The design can be changed. We can rebrand. We can do a lot of things from a service portal standpoint. That's really kind of the goal of this application, was to show how we can continue to expand and use service portal as a way for end users, and not only from an end user but also from a fulfiller standpoint, where they don't have to necessarily look at the back end of ServiceNow and see it from this view. They could see it really differently and manage their ticket this way.
Atul has another question, which is, can this be implemented on older version of ServiceNow, or it needs Istanbul or Jakarta?
It can be implemented where it started with anything with the service portal. So I believe that was Helsinki. But yeah, it's compatible with Istanbul and compatible with Jakarta. It sits on its own as a separate application.
Perfect. So Johnny asks, since it's self-service, no additional licensing, correct?
That is correct. So from the front end standpoint, the only thing here is that it's just like any self-service. Because you have a badge, you're already a user in ServiceNow. So there's no licensing from that standpoint in terms of needing of submitting a ticket. But from a fulfiller standpoint, because this is you're solving a ticket, it's a standard licensing model.
Perfect. One last question. We have Amy that asks, is this open source?
Can you rephrase that question? Or
Is this open source? So Amy, if you want to give us more information about what you need to know.
everything that you're seeing is on ServiceNow, built on using Service Portal. So standard Angularjs, Bootstrap, HTML, CSS, and then from an application standpoint, it's just using a create now application. Create some standard tables, standard structure of the table.
Yeah, she was asking if the code is available. So I guess.
No, the as far as available out, and no, we have not done any share. We plan on either putting this up in the store. We don't have any future plans yet in terms of what this will be. We simply wanted to show this application. If anyone is interested in this application, we'd be more than happy to talk in terms of the use case, make sure that it applies to do so, and if there's any kind of tweaks. But as is, at the moment, we don't have any plans to whether this will go on share or the store.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you everyone. For further question, email us and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Again, I will send the recording out in the next couple of days. So if you miss something, it's all gonna be there. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your interest and see you next month.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.